Welcome, everybody, to the Party Invite Show. I'm your host, Tegan, and I'm joined by SovereignSyd.
Hello.
And today, just the two of us have a handful of games here to talk about. So we are two of the four members of Party Invite. For most of you, you already know this. We have a wonderful community of people who play together, chat together, share news together, all that good stuff. We're trying to create a toxicity-free place on the internet to chat and also to play together. Even in conversations I had on last night's stream, and the conversation we had a couple weeks ago about horror games, there's a lot of danger. You know, the spookiest thing about this time of year is grouping up with strangers on the internet, but we hope to take the risk out of that with all the wonderful people that we have. So the Party Invite Show starts now. It is the podcast segment followed by the gaming segment. Today's game is going to be Spelunky 2. We are going to open that up, sounds like, to co-op. So we have up to 4 spaces, or up to 3 additional spaces. 2 after me and Sav. But I'd love to get that loaded up. That's been the only unfulfilled promise since our subathon. Actually, that's not true. We had that, and Vilo still has to say Xenoblade 3 on stream 300
I was like,
times.
wait, did we actually knock that out?
We did talk about doing a run of Spelunky where I try to beat Olmec before Vilos could finish saying it 300 times. But if I have any hope of beating that, I think I need to get a little better still. But Spelunky's later. Right now is the podcast. The first thing we're going to talk about is what we've been playing. We don't have a party topic this week, so whereas last week was the longest show that we've ever had, the longest podcast we've ever had, and it was a blast, let me say. Like, for as absolutely off-topic as we got, that was a hoot, and I'd do it again. But today will be the opposite of that. We've got 3 games lined up, 1 from me, 2 from Sav, and we'll just deep dive into those. I'll just tell you right now, and if you're in chat, you can always use the WWBP, which stands for What We've Been Playing command. And you can always get the list of what we've been playing. Oh, that's not correct, because Skull the Hero Slayer should also be on there.
Ooh.
But that's in case we forget to say the name of the game we're playing, because I've listened to plenty of podcasts where they'll talk for 20 minutes about a game, and I'm like, wow, that's fantastic. And then they move on without basically ever saying the name again. So, Sav, since you do have 2, let's start with Skull the Hero Slayer, if that's all right with you.
Yes, okay, let's do. Oh my gosh. So I just kind of decided to pick it up because I saw Bowser playing it like on the living room, and we got that huge gigantic like 62-inch in there, and so I was just playing Splatoon on my Switch and watching him play like in the periphery, and I was like, this looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then I knew I wanted to play when I started silently like making my own decisions about how I would have approached a group of enemies.
Oh, totally.
And I didn't want to say anything out loud, like, that was like not optimal, it's inefficient, what are you doing,
Dude, I know what you mean. I mean, Chris, I can't remember if you were on the show, maybe it was a couple weeks ago, where Chris played this. Chris played this and something else. I'd have to go back and look, but I was exactly in that same position you just described, where I was like, okay, I would have done that completely differently for 5 different reasons, but it's not productive at this moment to say that out loud. I'll just keep that in my back pocket. Yeah. So how much time have you spent with the game, either as a spectator or as a player?
So actually, I think I've been playing it now more than Bowser has, because he's juggling Skull and Moonlighter as well. He's really into Moonlighter.
Wow, so he's moonlighting in more ways than one, huh?
Doesn't
have time for Skull because he's busy dungeon delving.
He cannot slay the hero because he has to run the store.
Right.
I'll do the slaying. He could do the selling. But no, this is I approached it like you know how you play like a Kirby game and you steal an enemy's ability and blah blah blah. In certain games, you can have combined abilities, or you get like abilities that power up the longer you use it or whatever. And so I was kind of used to like juggling in that way, but the way that you can have 2 different skulls and those skulls are different types of skulls, balance, strength, and power and speed. It became really interesting to like juggle, what kind of skulls I like to use.
Totally.
For instance, I found this really, really OP skull called like the Abyss Mage, I think. The Dark Mage or something. I can't remember. He's got like a white hood, he's got 4 arms, his
Oh,
skin is as black as the abyss, and he's constantly on green fire, and it's amazing.
okay.
Um
I know Chris
and
found one. I thought it was called like the Warlock or something, and maybe they're the same character. But he had like a charge up ability that I think shot green fire, and it was lit.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm like for real lit.
Zing.
I think we're talking about the same character then, because both of the skills that I had, and it's funny because even though you can have the same skull, like you can get the same skull in different runs, but they'll
Mhm.
have different skills. There's multiple skills that will randomize between them. So, like for instance, the fire mage, you can either get like an explosion or a fireball or a fire arrow. So we might have different skills, but I think we are talking about the same character. Because I had 2 skills where I could channel, and then after I channeled, I either one summoned a huge meteor that literally obliterated everything on not even just the screen, but on the mini map. Like if you charge it all the way, it kills everything.
Shoot. Okay, then that
Um,
is a different. That's a different character than I think because.
well, then I also had one where I channeled and I sent forth like a giant sphere, like a giant flaming sphere, green sphere. My
Mhm,
basic attack was just 2 green fireballs, but like when I charged
mhm.
those other ones, the skills, that's what they became. So I wonder. I do kind of. I think it might be the same character. He just might have had a different skill
You're
than
the
I
one who's
had.
actually played, so you're probably right.
But it's kind of like Dead Cells.
Mhm.
It's that roguelike dungeon running, quick in and out. It's a really nice time sink. It's got wonderful music
Right.
and such charming characters. I find myself like laughing to myself, reading the dialogue and everything. And I always appreciate a game with like tongue-in-cheek writing.
Oh, totally.
Um,
And we Chris even showed us the prisoner character, which is the character from, um, you just said it, from Dead Cells.
Dead Cells, yeah.
And even that character has a different loadout each time you pick them. So whereas like as far as I know, every other character, the werewolf or the soldier or whatever, they all have the same 2 abilities every time you grab them. The prisoner from Dead Cells has a different loadout each time, um, and there's other fun things, other crossover little bits between this and that. And in Dead Cells, the main skull character, like the base one that you see, is a playable character in Dead Cells as well. But this game seems
Cool.
pretty
Yeah.
cool. The criticism that I think Chris had was that after a while, the beginning area seems like once you play it enough, yeah, it is random which type, like which version of each area you get. But there are only like 6 or 8 versions of each area. So in the first area, I'm watching him play, and I'm like, oh man, this is a banger. Can you turn this music up? And he goes, no, I'm tired of hearing specifically this music because I've been listening to it for like 10 hours.
Wow, so it's like he needs to get good. I'm just saying.
Hey,
I beat that giant tree on like my second try, so.
it's yeah, I was just surprised that there wasn't more variability. Like let's say you replay that first area every time, right? Because on any run, you're gonna run through that area. I was surprised that there weren't multiple soundtrack tracks for
Like in
that.
Spelunky.
Yeah, or even that there wasn't like a different boss or something.
Well, there are. Well, the giant tree is always the same boss, but the mid bosses are different.
Oh,
There
that's right.
the rookie hero, the archeress, the fire mage lady, some ninja. I hate the ninja. Um, there's another one. Oh, a priestess. A priestess. She's
Mhm.
like a cleric. So like the mid bosses differ, but the final bosses I think are always going to be the same, which I think is fair because like in a game
Yeah.
such as Spelunky, for comparison, you always fight Olmec.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, there's even the same boss every single time at the end of the first area, as well. So, yeah. I mean, the game seems good. When did this come out? This trailer is from about this time last year, for the Switch at least. I want to say that it came out earlier than that on another platform. I'm gonna look that up real quick.
I really
Skull the
like that
Hero
this is a game I
Slayer.
can play on Game Pass because that means I can play it on my Steam Deck. Wow.
Heck yeah.
I'm always looking for games I can play on my Steam Deck. And I really started looking for more once Christina got her set up because I was just like, oh, right, I have one.
Oh right. Oh my gosh. So chat. I was been back in Kansas City this past weekend, and got some friends together under one roof, and so my good friend Christina, who's the person that I originally started playing Don't Starve with ages ago at this point, um, she doesn't do a lot of gaming anymore, but she just rolled, basically a nat 20 and ran into somebody who was selling a Steam Deck, like unused at base price because they were her friend and they just needed money. So she just suddenly has a Steam Deck, which she got instead of buying her own computer, because a Steam Deck is like, I mean, that's like a third or a quarter of the price of a whole PC tower. She just didn't know how to set it up, and I couldn't help her. I didn't know what I was doing. So I was very happy that you were able to help her out because she was thrilled to be able to play that now. And I'm
I'm so
jealous.
excited. Oh. Well, I mean, the next time you come to town, you can have like, it's like a joint custody affair. You can share them on the weekday.
Yeah,
On the weekend.
right. Just have for a day or two. This says Skull the Hero Slayer was in early access on Steam February 18th, 2020, and then it was released for all of these platforms in January 2021.
Oh, okay.
So 1.0 is about a year and a half ago, but seems solid.
Yeah, I'm kind of willing to forgive it not having like more variant levels and stuff because I mean, it is kind of like a small indie game
Yeah,
in that way. I think it was kind of, I'm not sure if it was a first endeavor, but it kind of feels like one. I
it
don't know.
does.
I don't know. I don't know anything about the studio behind it. I just know that I enjoy the game a lot, and I would recommend it thoroughly, especially if you have Game Pass. And yeah, if you like hacky slashy dungeon crawler roguelites, then I mean, this is a game for you. If you like Dead Cells, you'll like this game. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And Dead Cells is in the game, so which is really cool that you brought that up because I did find his skull, and I love his passive ability that when you slay an enemy, they drop cells sometimes, and then you get your tactical scroll, your power scroll, or
hmm
whatever. It's a random scroll every time you collect 5 cells, and I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, the fact that it wasn't just a skin, like it wasn't just an aesthetic thing, like they really made the mechanics feel true to the game, true to the source material, right?
And more to that, I was like, oh, look at this cool move because I haven't played a lot of Dead Cells. But I was just like, look at this cool move I have. And I had Bowser watch me do it. And he was able to name the item from the actual original Dead Cells game that the move, because the move was named after the item.
hmm
And he was like, oh, that's
Oh,
the Robo Blade or whatever. And I was like,
damn.
how did you, yeah. He's sitting over there playing chess on his phone and like he didn't even read any of the text on the screen. And I was
I
just
bet
like,
he didn't
how
even
did you
look
know
up. He,
that?
he just like heard the words, and without looking up, he's like, "Oh yeah, like that's clearly the Whizblade."
Me with Pokemon cries.
Totally, that's exactly right.
From the video game, not the anime, because that would be cheating.
Yeah. Uh,
Pikachu. Yeah, I wonder who that is.
right.
It's Clefairy.
This says I'm on the Twitter page for at Hero Skull with one L is the Twitter account. This says there are over 100, or there are 100 different playable characters. That's a lot of playable characters. That's a lot of abilities. That's like jumping into Smash Bros.
It
Except
really
it's
is.
just you. But
You're just random.
yeah, all random, all mid. Basically. Now I'm really blurring the lines between stuff here. So yeah, Skull is available on every platform, and it's also on Game Pass. So Steam says it's $20 right now. I would say that if you like roguelikes, and especially if you like Dead Cells, just like Sav said, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, let's see. I played yesterday GTFO. GTFO, which stands for Get the Fuck Out, but doesn't actually say that anywhere. I did look to see if they were like, here's what GTFO means, but they did not. I actually found out when I was making my, setting up OBS Studio for the stream yesterday. You can have GTFO, like the acronym GTFO, in your title, but you cannot have it in your notification. Twitch was like, nah, can't do that. It breaks our rules of whatever. And I was like, okay, I don't totally understand. I mean, I do get it, but I don't. Whatever. But I thought that was funny because it's literally the name of the game. And I couldn't, because I was trying to be like, we're playing this new spoopy co-op horror game. It's called GTFO. And it said, no, you aren't.
It's called what?
It's called
Oh,
what?
not in my house.
So we played that. It was the same crew who played Inside the Backrooms that beat that last week, which was a blast. We actually rated out to somebody we've rated out to a bunch named that guy Izzy. He was playing Inside the Backrooms with another streamer. That was very fun. A completely different experience than when the four of us played it. I don't know. I think they like got joke scared several times. And I tell you, that game Inside the Backrooms scared the pants off of me. Um, but I think we covered that whole game because I think that we beat it the day before the stream last week. I was hoping it would be longer because that game was really fun. But I'm not here to talk about Inside of the Backrooms. I'm here to talk about GTFO. So this is a game that came out
Before
last.
Into the Backrooms, but let's talk about more about that. No.
Yeah, right. It came out last December, so it's been out almost a year now. And hold on, let me get this. Boom, there we go. This came out last December, and it's been on all those lists that you see of here are some co-op games you should check out. Here are some survival games you should check out. And occasionally you'll see new games appear on those lists, but most of the time it's a lot of the same games. Part of that is due to the fact that many of these types of games, especially the survival ones, they just get updated for a whole entire decade. And the game's always fun, but it's always changing, and you're never sure if it's finished. Looking at you, 7 Days to Die. That game is always changing, but it's somehow always the same. But yeah, we checked this game out. It was $40 on Steam, which was the first time I've bought a $40 game in a long time because of how often we're playing Game Pass. And let's get I'm gonna do this for Odysseus. I'm just gonna say that that's the first time we've mentioned Game Pass this session. So add it to the list. Hashtag still not sponsored, but someday.
Wait, no, we talked about Game Pass with Skull.
Okay, well then that's two. Boom. Back to back. Let's cut over here. I've got this VOD from last night to give you an idea of what it's like. So, Sav, did you ever play Republic Commando, the Star Wars game back in the day? Does that mean anything to you?
No, but it is funny that you mentioned Star Wars because my tank top, you can't really see it, but I'm actually wearing a tank top that has a lounging stormtrooper on.
Yep. Oh, that's good. I like that.
So that's really funny. I was actually trying to think of a way to like worm that into the conversation, but you found it. So there
Hey.
it is. Because I wanted to show it off. But no, I have not played that game.
Well, we got the VOD going. It's always weird seeing my own face twice on the screen because I didn't crop it out. But this is a game where, like Republic Commando, you've got your squad who's sneaking through and doing all these tactical moves and opening up security doors, and just being. I mean, tactical's really the perfect word for it. Uh, Essentially, trying to avoid a firefight until you just can't avoid it anymore. So in this game, it is mission based. You drop into this complex. It's called the complex. You go way underground. You take your loadout with you, which I'll tell you more about in a minute. And you dive underground to complete some sort of mission. So you're going to go through this complex. You usually have several little side missions that build up to the main mission, usually to allow you access in a certain way through these doors. But you've got this really creepy atmosphere. Very not Dead Spacey. I mean, because you're going underground, it's almost more like The Descent. But even that is, I think, kind of lazy for me to use as an example. But the environment is very spooky. It is often very dark, and you're moving through these areas, and you'll have sleeping enemies. Let's skip ahead to this. Right here, you're gonna see me messing around with the very cool mini map that you can draw on like it's Microsoft Paint. It's really cool. It's super cool.
That is cool.
And you can see
Oh,
while other
wow.
people are drawing on it too. So when they pulled their map out, you can see their cursors and if they're marking things up. There's also a very good voice line system, so you can just using the in-game, callouts, you can convey a ton of information based on, hey, we need to be quiet. Hey, we need to synchronize our movements. Hey, turn your flashlights off. because you'll be going through these areas where all these sleeping enemies are very unaware of you. They're just standing there, kind of loafing about. And if you shine your flashlight on them or you're moving too much really closely, they'll start to flash. So you get an opportunity to go, whoa, whoa, everybody be cool, like everybody freeze. And as long as you don't move while it's flashing, they will not wake up and detect you. Uh, but if you make any noise, and it's pretty easy to mess it up, so it is pretty tense where everybody's walking forward with their. I had a spear, with their melee weapons out, ready at any moment to stab them all at the same time. So that really reminded me of the Republic Commando, because even though that's only a one-player game, it was you and your elite clone trooper squad going in and silently dispatching all these enemies. Um, and it's just it's a very fun stealth mechanic. It makes the areas between the big fights very tense, which is very great for the environment that it's in. And I couldn't stop drawing comparisons to Rainbow Six Extraction, which is a game that came out. Well, shoot, I want to say last year, but for all I know, maybe that was at the beginning of this year. It came out on Game Pass when Ubisoft and Microsoft made a big deal, and we got a chance to play it for free. Well, Rainbow Six Extraction is fun, but after playing this thing, we're never going back. We said it on stream. That game is only 3-player. Extraction I'm talking about. That's only 3-player. The stealth mechanics are fine. They do encourage, coordination in these stealth areas where, same thing, you're really trying to avoid a firefight, because once the firefight starts, things get out of control really quickly. Ammo is very, in this game, in GTFO, it's very rare. So you can't just fire your gun all the time, or you're immediately going to be out of ammo. You don't have very many ways to heal at all. So the only ways that you heal or replenish ammo are finding items on the map to use on yourself or your team. And it's not a lot. Like, if you find a med kit, it's going to have 2 uses, and each use is going to refill 20% of your health. So same thing. Like, it's all about mitigating a threat rather than just going nuts. Because, like I said, like where we had a huge firefight and we actually wiped, we completely died. We had to try it again, and we're like, okay, last time almost all of us were out of or low on ammo, and you do have a melee weapon, but it only gets you so far, and it's really easy to take damage when you're trying to melee these enemies because they move really quickly. But yeah, these enemies are like these zombie alien underground humanoid things. No idea what they are. Maybe we'll find out once we play some more. But you've
From
got.
what I've seen of the footage, it reminds me of do you remember those monsters from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, the Re-Dead?
Oh yeah.
Where if you looked at them and they'd be like, ah!
Oh man, there's one. I don't think I'd be able to find it very quickly in the VOD, but we found the big boys, right? We found they're the melee enemies that swarm you and crawl. They're these shooters that just shoot a tiny little projectile. There are the lovingly named hentai monsters that essentially have a head that has like 20 tentacles, these gross things that go really, really, really far out from it, like the size of a whole entire room big. And we've always killed them before they've really done anything serious to us, but I do not want to find out what they do if we don't see them first, because they're
I mean, I think we know what they do.
they are spooky. So we found those, and then the last one that's the most like the Re-Dead are these tall guys that like when they move, like they've got little motions they do either when they're sleeping or when they've seen you, or in combat. They do this thing, the way they attack you. They're these huge lumbering things, and yeah, they can hit you with their fist, but they'll like charge up, they'll shake, and their head will turn bright red, and then it will very quickly like snake out and hit you like a whip from very, very far away. So it's their body physically reaching out and like trying to stab you. It's creepy. Uh,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so this is technically a horror game, and I even got jump scared during the main menu because when you click something, of course, now that I know it's there, I won't get scared again. But when you click, it very dramatically like does this thing. It's very loud, and um, I was like, "Damn, game, you're really buttering me up for this." But it's a lot of fun. I'll end up talking more about this after we play, but we really liked it. We're definitely going to incorporate it into um, our regular rotation. Essentially, you run around stealthing, stealth killing enemies. Uh, it's usually dark because, like I said, the lights wake up the enemy. I liked picking up glow sticks and throwing those because the enemy doesn't wake up to those. And it's just cool ambiance. But then you open up the security doors where you have to essentially stand in a moving, in these different areas while enemies come at you, and it is scary because when you need to move, there's always like 15 enemies coming at you, so you have to like effectively communicate to be like, "Whoa, we need two of you to go down there, two of us stay up here," and yada yada yada. But you can't just fool around a lot because you will quickly be overrun. Um, but yeah, lots of security doors and enemies. You pick up an objective and take it to a different place. But the mini map's cool. You use these terminals, these computer terminals, where you actually go up and you have to type like you're coding to to use the terminal. So like,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
when you're in the terminal, you can't always get the information that you see on the normal UI that says, "Hey, you're looking for red access card 372." So when you're in the HUD, you have to be like, "Hey, somebody tell me the name of that item." And so you type ping space card underscore yellow underscore 372, and it'll make a sound if it's nearby, and you can go find it using the sound. Um,
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
yeah, and you can type in like help and it'll teach you how to use the terminal. You type in commands to see which commands there are. You can find like lore log entries in there, text entries. Just a lot of fun little things that require you feel like you're immersed in this world. You feel like you are truly isolated from everybody but your squad, and you've got to seriously communicate how to do things to make any progress. So the last thing I will say, because I really could talk about this for a long time, I had a very pleasant experience with this game, and also the simple fact that I was able to stream it. I was shocked that my computer, which can't stream Rainbow Six Extraction, can't stream Deep Rock Galactic barely, can't stream Overwatch. Basically, no other shooter can run, and it ran this thing just fine. So, real happy with that.
Did you have to adjust any settings or anything, or did you just
Nope,
fire it up and go?
fired it up and
Wow.
went. And I didn't even test it before stream because I got home, downloaded it, and hit play. But very happy that that worked out. I did glitch during the tutorial. I glitched through the floor, which if I hadn't had the rest of the team to help teach me the game during the first session, I'm gonna be honest, don't think I would have kept playing. Like if I picked this game up and I clipped through the floor and had to lose at least 10 minutes of progress in the tutorial, I would have immediately just asked for a refund from Steam. So if that's you, just know that there is lots of good game past there. There are definitely some rough edges, but I was really glad that we tried it out because I would have quit. I would have just Alt F forward and refunded it way before I saw any of the game. Um, but yo, Saab, check this out. So you start the game. Actually, let me see if I can scrub to the beginning here. You start the game and you make a loadout. And when you make this loadout, I could show you us glitching through the game. Uh, when you make your loadout, you have everything unlocked. Let's do this. So if you booted up the game right now, you would have every weapon, a primary, a secondary, a like utility tool, and a melee weapon, and each of them has many options to choose from. They're all available immediately. You don't have to unlock them by playing or through a battle pass or anything like that. You just have the stuff. So the point of the game is that you actually have to coordinate with your squad to make your loadouts complement each other. Because if everybody went in with the same loadout, you're probably not going to have a good time. If you played Overwatch and you had 4 Soldier 76s, it could work, but probably not. Um, you the game just makes you realize like, yo, you've got to make this work. Like, figure out how you're gonna do it. Figure out how you want to play, and make it work. So yeah, like 4 different melee weapons, like 6 different utility items. I picked a glue cannon, just like the one in Prey. That was cool. And then there's anything from shotguns and snipers. Yeah, you can see here scrolling through these options. There are sentry turrets that can use a shotgun, sniper rifle, or a burst weapon. Like that's not something I see in a lot of games.
Sentry sniper.
Yep. They can hurt you. They can shoot into us. So if the enemy gets between you and the turret will shoot you. But
Did you find that out the hard way?
yeah, and we found out that it's not a hit scan shot. It fires a projectile, so if it's shooting at an enemy that's running very quickly to the side, it'll just straight up miss its target and hit you. I think Odysseus discovered that last night, but yeah, that's GTFO. It's a ton of fun. It's tactical in a way that I've never really played a game like this, like except maybe Republic Commando, maybe Extraction, but this is just a better version of Extraction. I remember our friend Radical. He showed me SOCOM 2 way back in the day. I mean, that was probably in middle school or high school, and that was a very tactical game where it was like, yo, you can't just spend your bullets. Like, if you get hurt, you're hurt. Like, in this game, I was trying to play with my spear, because you've got like a power attack too, but I kept missing. I'd be like, okay, come at me, and then I'd swing, and the enemy was just too fast, and I missed, and they'd hit me, and I quickly realized, can't do that. Like, I am losing all of my health, and it's not worth it. But I want it to work so badly, though. So, GTFO came out last year. It's $40 on Steam. I would say if you know that you like those kinds of games, it's worth $40. If you're not sure if you like those kinds of games, I'd wait for it to go on sale. I think Russ asked if it was worth $20. It's definitely worth $20. So yeah, that's definitely a wish list and in our rotation. So we'll see more of that on stream. And like I said, before the show, we had a bunch of new people in chat, which is always fun. They were talking about how they love the game, but it's just not as popular as it seems like it should be. So not a lot of people stream it. So maybe I'm going to be one of like 10 people in the whole world streaming this game.
Hey, build the audience.
That's right. But yeah, so if anybody wants to try that out, check out our Discord, dropping the link in chat there, so that you can find people to group up with. Because like we said a couple weeks ago, games like this can be very fun, but the biggest drawback on every Steam review is always going to be that playing with strangers is rough. So don't play with strangers. Play with us. So, I think that leaves us with just one game left. A game that Sav likes just a little too much. How many hours you got logged in Splatoon 3?
Well, a reasonable, moderate, amount. I'd say, it's
You know,
kind of like a scant, very minuscule 130 hours.
oh yeah. So,
Yeah.
so you're picking it up. So you finished the tutorial. Now how do you think the rest of the game is going to be?
I just finished customizing my character.
Oh man.
Uh,
Yeah,
you know how I'm obsessed with this game. I've been since the what you call it, the test fire, the beta
mhm.
thing, um, all about it. I did the cosplay event, which nobody asked me to do. I just went and did that. Like, I took it upon myself to make that cosplay and go down there and do that.
Now I
Uh,
wish I had a picture. I might go dig that up while you're talking. Cuz I
I
bet that I've got enough time to do it cuz I know how much you like this game.
Well, yeah, as you can see behind me, I've got my Splatoon amiibo up, and that was just because I had an interview earlier today, and I didn't want my wall to be like the blank wall it's been. And I've been meaning to put them up anyway, but there they are. They've just chilling. You can't see them
Nice.
all, but I've got them all up there, and they actually work inside the box. I did a special surgery on them, and you can't even see where I scarred them. So
Hold up. I'm gonna switch over, so we're gonna full screen this.
okay.
Doobie doobie doop boop. All right. Ta-da! Amiibos. What's the one to your right? Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, I'm not that fast. Oh gosh, hold on. I messed up. Give me 1 second because This is why I did this last time. I forgot to turn on audio for this additional thing. So just pretend people can hear you. No, don't actually. Just give me 1 second here. You did that on purpose. Um, where are my audio? Hold on, guys. This is good quality party invite show. Where are my audio sources? Well, Sav, I tried, and I know you weren't talking.
Yeah, no, I was actually just singing random songs from Mary Poppins.
That's good.
Okay, so I'll just list them down here. I have every Splatoon amiibo that's come out. So I've got Pearl and Marina here, um, the Octolings, the male and female Octolings from Splatoon 2, as well as the Octoling form. I've got the Inkling boy and girl, and as well as the Inkling squid form that were used to. Those are like the Splatoon 2 variants.
Mm-hmm.
And then above them, I'm not going to move the camera, but above them are all the Splatoon ones, including the Splatoon 1 ones, including Callie and Marie, the Squid sisters. They have yet to release Deep Cut. So
Deep cut.
I've got the Squid sisters and I've got Off the Hook, but I don't have Deep Cut yet because they're not out yet. But as soon as they do release them, I'm gonna buy. I don't care if they're separate or in a 3-pack. I'm buying them all. But I'm gonna start with Fry because she's my favorite. I mean, obviously. But yeah, they all what they do for the game is they unlock different kinds of cosmetics that you can wear. They'll unlock hats and topwear and shoes. Legging is not customizable by gear; it's customizable by style. So it doesn't actually give you any perks or anything. It just helps you put your ensemble together. So they're different. They're actually new kinds of uh, pants to wear in this game, which I really appreciate. And also, there are new hairstyles in this game, although Inklings still have twice as more than Octolings do, and that's a whole nother story that I don't want to get into right now. Um, but Octolings still got more hairstyles, and I'm happy about that.
Nice.
You would think that they're making a whole new game, they would even them out, but it's whatever. They had the time. I'm sure they had the resources. It's fine. It's cool. I'm not salty at all.
Nope.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Well, let's
Tiny
get
bit.
this footage up here. Sorry about this.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what is hap?
So speaking of, like, it's funny that you mentioned like that game, GTFO, because there is a mode in Splatoon 3 called Salmon Run that is pretty much like that, where you are coordinating with your teammates in this it's kind of like a zombies mode. And I
Mm-hmm.
hate saying that because it is a zombies mode. There are hordes of these like mutated salmons called salmonids, which there are different types of them. There are big ones, small ones. There are boss ones, king ones, like different kinds of things that do different special things. And it's basically a co-op PvE, and it's you and 3 other teammates who are all cooperating together to overcome the waves of the salmonids.
Mm-hmm.
And there are new maps and new weapons to use, of course, and then the new King Salmonid, who is Kozuna, who is summoned at the end of every 5th or 6th salmon run. There's a gauge that you can monitor, but it all builds respectively to each player. So one player may have the gauge filled more than you do. So you could get Kozuna sooner than you expect.
Mm-hmm.
And he is tough. Um, and I'm saying all this now because I don't actually have any footage of Salmon Run. So it's good that I'm getting this out the way now because I would be talking about Salmon Run when the ranked mode footage would be playing. So that's not
Yeah.
that's not cohesive. But it used to be only temporary. It would only open up during certain times of the day in Splatoon 2. Well, now it's 24 hours, and then it rotates. The different stages in the weapons rotate every two days or something like that. But it's always open. But I only play that when I need to. There are certain bonuses and rewards you can earn from that by doing it every time it rotates. What I'm really focused on is the ranked mode. Right now I'm kind of down bad. I'm down atrocious right now, down horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
It's not pretty, and my win rate looks awful. But that's because I play so much that like, like it just. I just keep playing.
I
Even when I'm tilted, I keep playing. I just play
I
and
love
play.
the idea. It's like, okay, look, the only reason that I don't win is because I play a lot. Wait.
Yeah. When you're supposed to rest, you get your win streak going, you're supposed to rest and take a break and, recalibrate and rejuvenate and everything. I don't do that. So I just end up losing a lot.
Yep.
And then I get mad because I'm losing, and then I keep playing even though I'm losing, and I'm
You're like,
like,
well,
well,
just one more.
just one more. I have to end on a win. 5 hours later. Well,
Yeah, right.
shit.
Shoot, I know how you feel. I've been playing some solo Overwatch open queue. Just because I don't play a lot of solo multiplayer anymore, so I was like, oh, I'll play this. Well, I don't want to end it on a bad one. Well, I mean that was pretty good. I could play one more. It's just like, wow, this is
It's like
never
you don't want
ending.
to end on a loss, but then feel so good after winning that you still want to keep playing.
Right. It's just so easy to immediately abandon the one criteria that I set for myself.
That's
Uh,
how you know you're hooked. 130 hours later.
that's the truth. So we got this footage playing for you. I know that you can't see it the exact same time as everybody else can, but um, who's this character with this, like, I don't know, flappy paintbrush that's just whipping
So
around?
it is just a paintbrush. It's called the ink brush, and so the way that you choose your weapon is by the actual weapon. It's not like a character class or anything like that.
Mhm.
And then you kit out your gear by customizing your outfit. So different outfits or different clothing items will have different starting perks, and then you can, as you level them up, they'll randomize a new perk to have. But the weapon that I like to use, there are of course a lot of like gunny, shooty, pointy, clicky projectile weapons. I don't like to do that. I like to go up in somebody's face and bitch slap them all across from here to Inkopolis.
Here, here.
I'm here. I'm in their face, and I like to be. What I focus on with the ink brush is this is what it's mainly designed to do. Is it's designed to get in, do your thing, get out, or you can use it to flank because it's very mobile. And while the enemy's distracted, they don't really see you approaching or coming up or anything. And then opening up, like getting through the back line, eliminating the foe from there, and then opening up the objective for your team to approach.
Mhm.
And that's basically how I play.
So
Of
you're
course,
playing
the footage that you
Lancer,
see, yeah, I am. I am playing Splatoon Lancer. Oh man, that's a really good comparison. I never thought about it that
right?
way.
I mean, as soon as you're like, oh yeah, I just do my own thing. I go around back and then open it up for my friends. I'm like, wow, that's that's what another one of my friends tries to do, and
No,
I'm glad that you succeed with it.
well, yeah, I mean, not lately, but
Oh
it's
well,
it happens.
yeah, you really lost your you know, the first
I-
100 hours you were really good, but after that,
I'm washed up now. Gotta
yeah.
retire. Um, But besides the main weapon, you get like sub weapons and special weapons. So the sub weapons are your grenade type deals. And so if there's anyone out of range or anyone I'm trying to flush out, I'll throw the splat bomb to flush them out and then smack them around.
Mhm.
Um, there is a new special weapon for this item called the Killer Whale 5.1. So called because it is a set of speakers. As you can see, they fire like a laser here.
Oh, that's
It's a
what that
set of
is.
speakers that it's a surround sound system. And it was Bowser that actually pointed that out to me. I was like, why is it called 5.1 when this is the second iteration of the killer whale? Because originally it was just like a giant ant that just blah, like a Kamehameha wave, like across the whole map.
Mhm.
And he was like, oh, that's funny. And I was like, what? He said 5.1, surround sound. And I was like,
Oh,
oh, oh, I get it. Like I felt really dumb. But no, this is my favorite weapon, and I've used it ever since it came out in Splatoon 1, because it was originally not in Splatoon at all. It was one of the weapons that came out after the initial release of Splatoon 1. And since then, it's been a staple in the games. But gosh, how old is Splatoon 1?
I don't know the
Um,
answer to that.
well,
Shoot, is it
it's a long time. I've been using this weapon a long time, and it's
6?
pretty much the only one I use. I do use the Octobrush, which is like the heavier variant of it, and it's more powerful, but it's a little slower.
Mhm.
And when I'm in a situation like if I'm like doing a rank mode because the rank modes do change objectives. There are four kinds of rank modes, which is splat zones, which you have to control a territory until the countdown ends. There's Rainmaker, which you have to transport a cannon to the end of the map through checkpoints. There's tower control, which is basically kind of like a tower defense mode where you have to escort. You stand on the tower to escort it across the map to the end goal. So payload, basically.
Yeah.
And then Clam Blitz, which is where you traverse the map to collect clams, which then fuse to become a power clam, which looks like a football. Don't ask why, because I don't know. The clams become a football, and you chuck the football into the other team's clam basket, which opens it up then to be susceptible to the regular clams, and then you get their counter to zero, and that's how you win. And then that's all the ranked modes. But then there's also the turf war standard mode, in which you just have to ink the most territory. So.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's what I'd end up playing. Not that I don't like the trying to ink other players, but I look at this and I'm just like, oh man, how do I cover the most ground? Like every time I'm watching, I'm just like, what would I do here? Even though I don't completely understand like the strategy of the different weapons and the different maps. Like I've said before, it's kind of just this game is my favorite level of Super Mario Sunshine turned into a whole game. And that's all I want to do is just spray everything.
if
Oh,
you, I wish they had
oh,
a demo.
yes.
Gosh, that time where it was like during the test fire where they gave people a week of Nintendo Switch Online so they'd be able to try out the game.
Mhm.
I wish they would do that, like not the free trial of NSO, but if you're interested in Splatoon, you're already going to have NSO. So
Right.
I wish they had like some kind of demo or something because it. I would talk about this game. I would preach this game like from the highest of the mountaintops forever because it is so good. And I think we were talking about this last week, where you know how games have that certain kind of like cult following, almost not cult in like a negative fashion, but like it feels like a home that you
Yeah.
can go to and just be a part of that community. And it has its own memes and its own culture and all of that. Like Splatoon is really one of those games that is like that. And it's rare in the fact that it's like that without a lot of, or any that I've seen, like toxicity or like harassment or anything like that. Um, and that's coming from me as like a Ninjala player as well, because Splatoon and Ninjala get compared a lot.
Oh,
If I wanted to introduce someone to Ninjala, I'd be like, it's free to play Splatoon, but instead of ink, it's gum and it's melee based instead of projectile based.
yeah.
That's how I would talk about it. And so there's a lot of parallels that can be drawn between the two games, except the community. And I do just like saying this because I'm an ambassador for the game.
Right.
But we call it like we see it, and the community sometimes could be a little bit vitriolic. But you don't really see that in Splatoon, or at least I don't. Um, it's one of the most welcoming communities out there that you can have. I mean, just last week I think I was talking about how all of the posts in the game are like just furries memeing about liking big butts, like.
Yep.
So, and that's just the kind of atmosphere. It's like really fun, really tongue in cheek, really, um, just really so cool. And
I,
the lore.
you love that lore. Sometimes I'm like, oh, here they go. Uh, when you said the time, what did I say? When I pointed out, I was like, what did I ask? I think I just saw somebody in the trailer that was like a race that I didn't recognize or something, having completely forgotten that all of the background that you've talked about at length was like the POC coded characters of like the squids over here. What was the other one that I saw? Um, I don't
So
know.
they're the Inklings, which are the squids, and then they're the Octolings, which are the octopi. And then the Octolings are the ones who are like pretty much POC coded, and that's exacerbated even more by I say exacerbated like it's a bad thing, but I don't mean it like that. It is more obvious that that is the case in Splatoon 3. I have not touched the story mode yet because I want to save it for stream,
Oh,
whenever that is, Spectrum. Because I want to stream it while cosplaying Fry, because of course I do.
because
But
of course.
the premise of it is there's this new realm called Alterna, and all of the Octarians, which are different than the Octolings because they're like genetically mutated, different. I don't know. Uh,
They are
but they're not.
built
They're not.
different. You know. What if that was their explanation in the lore? Like it was like Octolings, and it's like this whole well thought out, very well written. Here's who they are. Here's their background, all this stuff. And then Octarians, they're
Built
just
different.
built different. You're like, oh great, thank you.
Thank you for that.
Just
I
like,
mean, they
oh,
kind
we
of are though.
ran out of the budget exactly as we were writing this text.
So if humans evolved from primates, right, then Octarians would be the primates of Octolings. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
yeah, totally get that. Easy.
So the Octarians now have this whereas they have the slimy coating of like that you would expect of like a octopus sort of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now for some reason they're fuzzy. So they got that 4C hairstyle kink, the 4C coils going on.
Yeah.
And it has something to do with like this weird kind of like ink. like substance that's taking over the realm or something like that. So it mutates them even more to have like this really fuzzy appearance. And so it's funny that you mentioned Super Mario Sunshine because the premise of the story is going around and eliminating all of this like really weird alternate ink.
Yeah.
So you're basically cleaning it up, just like in Super Mario Sunshine. I don't really know anything beyond that because, like I said, I haven't gone into it. But I do think that it explores the premise of the last game's ending, which was the final Splatfest of the last game was Chaos versus Order, with Pearl
Tails
representing
Wolfenstein.
Chaos and then Mariner representing Order. And Chaos had won, which is why Splatoon 3 is all this like post-apocalyptic, like deserted, Mad Max sort of affair.
Mm-hmm.
Because Chaos won, and so that's what they themed the next game around to continue the story from there. So I think that we are going to see a little bit more into the result of that in the story.
Yeah.
I just don't know for certain yet, and I'm excited to find out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, cool. Well, I'm sure we'll hear more about Splatoon 3 in the future. As you mentioned, I think last week, Splatoon 3 is one of the, I think it's the highest selling Nintendo game ever so far. I'd have to go dig up the article I just saw because I don't want to like misspeak, but the idea of it was like the Splatoon 3 launch has been bigger. So maybe it's the launch window
yeah,
is
I
where
think
this is
it made
because
like 3 million in 3 days.
it
I
said
think,
that it's bigger than all the Zeldas, all the Pokemons, Animal Crossing, bigger than all that. I'm like, dude, the Animal Crossing release was so big. Like, even if you were just talking about the initial first few weeks, like, that is huge. It shattered a bunch of records. So that Splatoon 3 now is shattering those again. That's crazy. But that's awesome. Like you said, it seems like a game that is not only inviting, I mean, it's, generally like family friendly in the sense that you could put it on in your living room and not, it's not Call of Duty or something.
yeah,
Or even Overwatch, which is pretty horny. Sometimes I forget about it, and then you see some of the like you see Diva laying out on her mech, like pinup style, and it's just like, oh man, this game.
yeah.
Right, I forgot. I've seen it so much that I kind of was blind to it. But no, oh my gosh, Odysseus with the
Well, way that we both react instantaneously at the same time to that emote, that was
wow, that's
why
really
do
something.
you have that?
Gotta be watching live to get that, or watching on Twitch. Um, you forget about it, but
TV/Party Show plug.
Splatoon is something that you can put on in the family room. It's anybody could play it. Like, I don't imagine any age group saying no, this game is not going to work for them, right? Um, so I really like that. And then the what you said about the like the hub that everybody drawing the pictures and stuff. That's such a nice little touch that makes you feel connected to other players outside of just the fact that you like the same gameplay, right? I wish more games had that kind of thing because it really makes it makes this world feel lived in. And like you said, it makes it a comfortable place for you to be able to spend time, whether you're by yourself or playing with your friends. You've got your customized avatar. Well, I don't know if you have an avatar because I'm not sure how the hub
Well,
world
no, you
works.
do. So when you start up a game for the first time, you choose um, whether or not you want to be an inkling, an octoling, masculine, feminine, and then your hairstyle, eye color, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you can change that at any time, by the way. You do have to go to a separate menu to do it. It's not like putting on the clothes or anything like you do for your gear and whatnot. You
Mm-hmm.
do have to go redo the whole thing again if you want to do it. But you can do it at any time. It doesn't cost you anything, and you don't lose any progress, which I think is really cool. Uh, I forgot why I started talking about that, but yeah.
Because I had asked if there were avatars in the hub world,
Oh yeah, yeah. So
which is
you can basically present yourself however you want.
yeah, I love that. You feel. I was watching. So I was at Radical's house this past weekend, and he was playing WoW, or at least he had it up on his computer, and I saw from across the room the character select menu. Right, so you highlight your character, and you see your character. You can spin him around and stuff with all of his whatever armor you're wearing and all that stuff. And I saw that and I was like, man, that really takes me back. Like, I remember loading that game up and you see your character with like the background of whichever whichever area of the world you came from, and then you hop in, and I'm just like, man, I remember all the times I would just jump in and run around the city, just jumping and listening to music and stuff, just because it was a comfortable place to be, even if I wasn't really in the mood to go do anything productive in the game, productive, or hang out with my friends. Even just it was a place to be and to feel comfortable. So what you're describing with Splatoon sounds like a great way for a lot of people to have that feeling, right? Um, Always a big fan of that stuff. And when you said you compared it to Ninjala, when you had joked at the beginning that you played 130 hours and you just finished customizing your character, in my head, the picture that popped into my head, I thought it was Splatoon, but actually it was definitely Ninjala. You customizing your character on there, so yeah. Well, that's wonderful. We'll keep looking forward to your as yet unnamed genre of games like this. You're always like I was telling somebody, you're always ahead of the curve with new kind of fringe. Like Splatoon's not fringe, but Ninjala was for American audiences, at least for people like me. Um, well, I mean, shoot, you played Spellbreak before anybody else. I think you played Dauntless before anybody I know, and a bunch of stuff like that. So we'll keep an eye out for the Sov multiplayer update this week and
I'm the
every
game
week.
whisperer. Game Pass comes to me.
That's right. Then I think that'll do it really for the show. We're gonna play Spelunky 2, and Sav, if you're down to try some co-op, uh, you know, the netcode, we have no idea what the netcode's gonna be like, but just like games for like Back for Blood or anything else, if you die, usually in the next map, you'll have an opportunity to like bring the person back. So we could
Yeah, I think they'll like
technically,
find me in a coffin or something, right?
yeah. So we'll have lots of opportunities to die, way more than the normal mode. Um, wouldn't it be funny if like tonight, just goofing in co-op was the time that we just beat the whole game? We just like tripped over our shoelaces into the final boss and walked away with the victory.
Well, now that you said it out loud, the universe can't allow it to happen. Because we've
Yeah,
got six
well,
minutes of retrograde, so they said what?
they
Oh
said
no, not
what?
on our watch.
Then yeah, chat. If any of you guys would like to join us, we're gonna load this up and we'll play co-op until Sav is no longer available, and then I'll hop over to single player and we'll do some of that. As far as community updates, we've got some updates coming to our Discord that are rolling out over the next couple days. Essentially, we're trying to make it easier for people to find exactly what they want gaming-wise in our server. Oh, that's Butamus. That's a really cool controller.
Yeah, I'll put it up longer because that was kind of a flash.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's the Needler one, right?
Yeah, as you can see, the stick is already worn down, and I haven't even had it for that long, so I'm disappointed
Oh,
about that. But yeah, it
oops.
used to be purple. You can kind of like,
Oh my gosh, that used to be purple.
hmm
Wow.
it didn't last very long. I think I might just scrape the rest of it off, honestly, because it does look kind of nice with the white on it. But
Yeah,
it's a needler. It's got the little pink trigger and everything. So,
that's good.
and it matches my Miss Magius.
Ah, right, you got that whole scheme going.
Yeah,
But
purple's
yeah,
my thing.
we've got changes coming to our Discord where essentially you can get a lot more out of whatever type of gaming you'd like to do if you're grouping up. So we'll have additional voice channels for like if we're doing co-op. I want to illustrate that yeah, we play Back for Blood, we play Deep Rock Galactic, we play. I can't think of any other co-op game right now, but we play tons of them, and we want to allow people to jump into our Discord without having to be bombarded by a ton of stuff they don't care about. So it'll be really easy to hide the stuff you don't care about, and we're fleshing out some of the extra stuff that we want to expand on. So yeah, join that. It's discord.gg/partyinviteshow. You can also check out our website, which is partyinvite.games. You can always see the backlog that Vilos is building and working on the blogs there. You can follow Sav here at twitch.tv/SovereignSyd. That's SYD. And Chris is cool. I don't have a thing to plug of Chris's. Chris is great. We love him. I mean, Chris does Journey Pro stuff. If you're in Kansas City doing wrestling, go check out a bit.
Yeah, I was about to plug Journey Pro, but then I realized I don't know any other social links.
Same, yeah. Oh, Leslie, whoa, with the Prime sub, 11 months. Wow, has it been that long already? Feels like we just started yesterday.